this is Laura from LIVEVISIONZ.com, and I wanted to talk to you about some aspects in astrology that can contribute to having really difficult relationships. I have a few of these myself, and I figured I would share with you some information that may be helpful. One of these is if you're a Virgo ascendant. If you're a Virgo ascendant, and you naturally have Pisces on the 7th house cusp. And what does Pisces do? Well, Pisces is you're going to be attracted to somebody. On the high end of Pisces, there's octaves in every sign and every planet, okay? On the high end of Pisces, you can attract somebody who is very spiritual, very creative, okay? That's if you're lucky. And that's what you want to shoot for with this house placement, just so you know. This also applies if you have Pisces in the 5th house cusp of dating as well, okay? So you want to shoot for somebody who's spiritual in some way or creative in some way, okay? That's the person you want to stick with, okay? But Pisces in these houses, 5th house cusp or the 7th house cusp, can give you somebody who, for lack of a better word, is a science project. Somebody who has a lot of issues, somebody who maybe has a drug problem, drinking problem, you name it, dependency, somebody who's deceptive, okay? And the best way to do this, because if you're a Virgo ascendant like myself, you naturally want to help people. You're like, oh, I can help this person, or oh, maybe things will change, or with my tough love, this will work, or whatever it is, And you realize that you're waiting for a bus that's not coming. And the solution here for this is, if they are not the person that you want to be with today, if you're thinking, oh, you're waiting for them to change to become the person that you want them to become, meaning that you're falling in love with their potential, not for who they are in the here and now. So if they are not the person that you want in the here and now, it's time to just hasta la vista, really. Because what's going to happen is, with Pisces on the 7th house cusp, is you could delude yourself and deceive your own self into thinking things are going to change, or I know that I could fix this, and people, I want to say this, you can't change somebody. They have to want to change themselves. And I found with this placement, a lot of times, especially with people who are Virgo ascendants and have Pisces on the 7th house cusp, they feel that with their help, that this person could change, and they're willing to put in the time, the energy, and the effort to help this person fix whatever it is. And this is not the case. So you're going to end up waiting for a bus that's not coming. And I want to say, here's a good thing to look for, to know if you're wasting your time or not, okay? Is the person that you're interested in investing their time, their energy, and their money in you? If the answer is yes, then maybe it's worthwhile seeing how it goes, okay? But is this person receptive to taking steps to make changes? If they're not, or they're procrastinating, or telling you, oh, in a year things will be different, This could even be women who are falling in love with married men, or men who are attached or unavailable in some way, and the guy's like, well, I can't do it now because of this, but, no. You'll end up waiting for a bus that's not coming, okay? My advice to you is, if they're not who you want them to be in today and the here and now, because with this placement, you're really inclined to fall in love with someone's potential. It's better to cut it off and maybe tell the person, okay, when you become single, then hit me up. And you want to make sure that the person is investing in you as much as you're investing with them, because I find with this placement as well, Virgo ascendants tend to be givers. They give and give and give and give and give. How much are you getting? If you're not getting enough back, you're deluding yourself into thinking, but, and I know the reason you're giving is because you're thinking, well, in the long run, it'll be worth it. I'll eventually get what I want in the long run. It'll happen, and you don't want to waste good years of your life with someone who's not going to make you happy, and where you want the happy ending. Don't forget, Pisces on the 7th house cusp can make you a dreamer. It can make you all into romance, and you want this romantic type of fairy tale, You're not going to get the fairy tale unless you gotta look at the red flags. And I have so many Virgo ascendants calling me, and they have typical red flags in their chart. And they tell me what's going on in the relationship, and I say, well, why are you still investing in this person? You know? And I'll be honest with you, hey, I don't judge anybody because, hey, I went through it myself, and it's painful. But if I could save you some years, you know, to not go through what I went through, you know. But anyway, live and learn. And I want to say, studying astrology has helped me so much. So the best way to use this is octaves. You want to use this energy in the higher octave. So find someone who's spiritual. Find someone who's creative. Okay? The minute you see a chemical dependency, they're not for you. Because what's going to happen is you're going to want to be... Virgo ascendants can be very good enablers. Let me help you. Let me help you. Let me help you. And before you know it, you're enabling this person to live out their addiction or whatever they're doing. Okay? And especially, I want to say, look to see if they're investing their time, their energy, their money in you. Look to see if they're spending, you know, like a lot of time with you. Some people are like, oh yeah, I see him. He spends time with me. Okay, how often do you see this person? Oh, I see them once a month. That's not time. Just so you know. Like 3-4 days a week is good. You know, just so you know. All right. Now, that's Virgo ascendants. Okay, now this, just so you know, what I said also applies if you have Neptune in the 7th house, because that creates the same kind of a dynamic and energy. It also applies if you have Neptune in the 5th house of dating. Creates the same kind of energy. If you're a woman and you have Mars conjunct Neptune, means you're attracted to the guy with some issues and, you know, same kind of energy that I just described. If you're a man and have Venus conjunct Neptune, same kind of energy. So guys, same thing. I give some really wonderful, sensitive guys who call. Great guys who are willing to do, like, you know, not a lot of guys like that out there who are willing to just do whatever for a person, you know. And so they're waiting for the girl to change, or for, you know, and they're putting their time, their energy, and their money in her. And they're waiting for things to change for this person. So for the guys, I have a little bit different advice, okay? This person is only around when they need something, or they need some cash, or they want you to buy something for them. Stop the gift giving. Stop the gift giving and see if this person is still coming around, okay? You know, and it's hard for guys because usually the guys are the ones paying for the dates and so forth. But if this person only comes around when they're needing something, or, you know, major events, this is for all the, you know, you guys, like holidays, Christmas, Thanksgiving, you don't see this person. This person doesn't spend time with you. They spend time maybe a week later or something, you know? You don't really want to waste your time. You know, you're basically deluding yourself to thinking that this is something that it isn't. You know, this person is making you feel like things are, are going to change. So watch for that one. Another one is the South Node on your ascendant and the North Node in the 7th house. So if you have your North Node in the 7th house, you're working on relationships, okay? But your South Node is, especially, not if it's toward the latter end of your 1st house, but more so toward the ascendant, right on the top of that line, it can make you reckless. You know, it can make you just do things without thinking, and, you know, this could be, you need to be conscious of this if you have this, to have a long-lasting relationship. Because maybe, you know, you do something without thinking that really affects your relationship. You know, maybe without thinking you just said, you know, I kind of was, you know, in Vegas and I kind of had an affair. You know, I've had calls where clients have told me, you know, it came out, what doesn't come out in the wash comes out in the rinse. And the person found out and it affected their relationship. So you really have to be conscious that you're making good decisions with the South Node, especially on your ascendant. Now, it doesn't matter what degree, as long as you have your North Node in the 7th house, you're working on relationships, okay? And that means that wherever your North Node is, it's difficult to get there, but you will get there. You're meant to work on that. So it means that if people are in a relationship with you, and you have this, or if you're dating somebody with this placement, you're going to be putting a lot of extra work in the relationship to make it work, because this person is learning probably things from you in regards to relationships, okay? So that's another one. Another one I want to say that is difficult is the Leo ascendant and Aquarius in the 7th house. What does this mean? Well, a lot of Leos, center of attention. The sun is on you. The spotlight is on you, right? Well, not forever. So what I'm trying to get to is, remember, be mindful that there's another person in the relationship. It's not a me, me, me. It's a we, okay? So if you're dating somebody with a Leo ascendant, I'm not saying that all Leo ascendants are arrogant. They are the most self-confident sign in the zodiac, okay? But sometimes that confidence can spill over to a partner and feel like arrogance, like the other person doesn't matter, that it's all about you, okay? Now, here's the issue, the reason that the other person feels that perhaps they don't matter to you is because you have Aquarius on your 7th house cusp, which is a very detached sign. So you could give off a very, I could take you or leave you kind of an attitude. Like, I don't care if you're around, I just do what I, see, because Leo is so confident, and which is great. That's probably why you attract people. But Aquarius on the 7th house cusp can make you need a lot of freedom in relationships. And you could have an I can take you or leave you attitude. You know, Aquarius on the 7th house cusp could make you a lot of breakups and makeups. You know, it could end quickly because Aquarius, they tend to make quick decisions. Let's face it, that house would be ruled by Uranus, okay? So, you know, you could end things just out of the blue and this just isn't working for you. And, you know, you may not even leave the Dear John letter. You could see a red flag and be done and not even tell the person why, okay? I would say if you have Aquarius on the 7th house cusp, Klingons need not apply to you. You don't like someone who's too clingy because you really value your personal space, okay? So let's say all you other people out there who maybe who are dating somebody who has Aquarius on the 7th house cusp, if you do not give this person their personal space and you're too clingy and why didn't you call me 10 times a day, this person will dump you. Let's just say this person likes freedom. And the best relationship probably for this person would be somebody maybe who travels a lot, somebody who, you know, maybe works a lot and they see each other a couple times a week. They like their freedom. You know, they don't like to be pigeonholed into anything. You know, great, and which is why when people date you guys, that they feel like you have this I could take you or leave you attitude. Plus you have this great confidence about yourself. So they're thinking, wow, it's all about you. You don't care about anybody else. That's not really the case. So you have to be extra mindful to make sure that you're making your partner feel wanted and welcome. You know, even though you could really want that person, it's just, you just like your space a lot. And Leo, with your self-confidence, you exude self-confidence. This is not like the jealous type. This person is probably not going to be like, if you try to use manipulation with this person and try to make them jealous, they'll probably be like, well, you know, I'll find another person who appreciates me, and, you know, because if you don't, then I'll move on. They do give you that I'll take you or leave you kind of energy. So just so you know. Now this also applies if you have Uranus in the 7th house, okay, or if you have Aquarius on the 5th house cusp of dating, you could feel that way. Or if you have Uranus in the 5th house of dating, okay, or if that person's Mars is conjunct Uranus, makes them very eccentric and like their space, or if that person's Mars is in Aquarius. And I will tell you this, my Mars is in Aquarius. And if somebody gets too clingy with me, or they're too, you know, they want to call you 5 or whatever times a day, and I work, you know, my livelihood is really important to me. And I need space, and I like my personal privacy when I'm doing readings. You know, it's very important to me to make that privacy important for the client too, okay? Because they're giving me a lot of personal information about what's going on in their life, and I don't like somebody infringing on that space. So when I'm working, I like to be left alone. And if somebody is bothering me when I'm working, it ain't gonna last long, especially if the person's too needy and I'm not able to do my work or career, or they feel the need to call me as many times a day, or, you know, I don't know. I had a boyfriend. My sister laughs at this. In the past, I worked for Department of Ed, and I did collections. And I remember so tired coming home, just totally tired. And I was dating a Cancer at the time, and very clingy. And I remember he wakes me up all mad, and he goes, "Why aren't you holding my hand?" And I'm like, "I'm sleeping. Come on, tired." So yeah, I mean, and I'll be honest with you, to me it was a huge turnoff, because it was like, if you're not gonna let me be me and work and do what I have to do, and you're gonna wake me up in the middle of the night because I'm not holding your hand and cuddling or whatever, it just didn't. And my moon's in Cancer, so I really do love Cancers, but my energy, my Mars, okay, and what I'm attracted to, Mars in Aquarius in a woman's chart is what she's attracted to, right? So I like a person who gives me my space, And my energy, I need space, okay? And we'll talk about that in a minute. But, okay. Now, and just so you know, in a woman's chart, like I said, Mars is what you're attracted to. In men, it's Venus. Venus is what you're attracted to. So for you guys, if you guys have your Venus conjunct Aquarius, you want your space in relationships. You like somebody who gives you your, space. So if the person's really clingy, yeah, I'm probably going to dump them. Just saying. Okay. Let's see what else. I made some really good notes here. Now, okay. So let's get back to the North Node in the 7th house, okay? There's a caveat to that. Now, North Node in the 7th house, I want to also add to this that if you have your North Node in the 7th, which means that you have your South Node on the ascendant, okay, you probably end up dating a lot before you settle down, because you have a lot of learning to do in relationships, okay? However, if you have Saturn in that house, it could delay marriage until after 35, and you would probably settle down more after 35. Okay, if you got married before then, it could end in divorce. That's of any sign, okay? Not only if you have this North and South Node placement. Anybody who has Saturn in the 7th, marriage is delayed. And, it's better to get married after 35. You could end up divorced prior to that. And it's either Saturn in the 7th or Saturn aspecting the 7th. And that could pose a huge issue for a lot of people. They're like, I want to get married. And my resolution is we'll live together and wait till after 35 to get married. It doesn't mean that you can't marry the person that you want to marry. It just means you don't know all there is to know about relationships until that time. My point about the South Node on the ascendant and North Node in the 7th house is, if you have Saturn in the 7th, normally North Node in the 7th will date like a crazy person, and until they get relationships right, and then they'll settle down. But if you have Saturn there, you would not probably date like a crazy person. You probably would be very serious about the relationships that you had, okay? And you could date later in life. Also, like I said, marriage could be delayed, and after 35 would be better. So just so you know, if Saturn aspects that 7th house or is in the 7th house, it could do that to you. Another thing I want to talk about is Chiron. Now, here's a few things. If you're a woman, and we all know Mars is what you're attracted to in a partner, right? So if your Mars is conjunct Chiron, you could really attract some wounded types, okay? Some people who have issues, let's say. So it could be a guy who expresses himself in a very, it could be somebody who you're attracted to who, it depends on how they're using that Mars, I want to say. But this is somebody who, you could feel wounded by, okay? So you attracted the wounded type. And let's look deeper. Why would you attract the wounded type? Well, maybe you came into this world, okay, or you grew up feeling wounded for your energy. Like, if I did this, I may get into trouble, or maybe punished if I did this, and you could feel very, I want to say, you could be almost afraid to use that energy. Like your energy as a person, you could feel very held back, okay? And then you have somebody in your life who comes into your life with the same kind of energy, a little bit wounded, you know? But you got to be careful that that person is not abusive or, you know, hurtful to you in some way. So you just want to be careful if you have Mars conjunct Chiron if you're a woman. Same thing if you're a man and you have Venus conjunct Chiron. Same thing, okay? So you have to be very cautious that you're, you know, not, and you may always feel, with men it's different because it's Venus. So you may feel that with love, you always feel hurt or wounded in some way. So you could feel held back when it comes to love and relationships, okay? But you could attract the very thing that you don't want. And a woman who's also has issues, shall I say, and ends up wounding you, okay? I want to say, now as far as a woman, if you're a woman and you have Venus conjunct Chiron, you know, you could have a deep wounding by a relationship, and it could be very painful for you. I have Venus conjunct Chiron. I have what's called in my chart a cazimi, which is the sun is conjunct Venus. So the sun and Venus are like one planet. And right next door, my little neighbor there is Chiron. So it's like, oh gosh, you know. So I just want to say it can be very, very painful, especially if you're a woman with conjunct Chiron. You could, the love you're getting in your life, you could feel a deep wound through a love relationship, okay? Just saying. Okay, so that is my synopsis of some aspects that could really, really cause some issues in relationships. And I'm just going to recap really quickly. I know we're at 21 minutes here, but Virgo ascendant, Pisces on the 7th, okay? Also, if you have Neptune in the 7th, Neptune in the 5th, or Pisces ruling your 5th, okay? If you are a Leo ascendant or Aquarius on the 7th house cusp. The same applies if you have Aquarius on the 5th house cusp, or if you have Uranus in the 7th or Uranus in the 5th, or Uranus conjuncting your Mars or Venus. Okay, for men it's Mars. No, I'm sorry, for women it's Mars. For men it would be Venus, okay? Now also, as far as the, it would be difficult to relationship if you had, if you're a woman and you have your Mars conjunct Neptune, and if you're a man, you have Venus conjunct Neptune. Now, on a side note, Venus conjunct Neptune could be a very, you know, creative person, a spiritual person you could attract, which is beautiful, you know. But whenever you're dealing with Pisces and Neptune, you want to deal with the spiritual end of things. You want to go for someone who's spiritual or a healer, okay? That is the big out of jail free card. You want to go for the spiritual person, the healing person. So if you have, okay, when you're dealing with Neptune, Pisces, or Chiron, okay, you want to deal with someone who is on the healing front, somebody who is spiritual and creative. You know, if you go that angle, you're probably better off. And you have to weed. Let's say you find somebody who's very creative and who's healing, or, you know, spiritual, but they happen to do drugs every weekend and they're high out of their freaking mind. You know that's a red flag. You got to cut that person loose. Because if they're displaying any of the negative aspects of Pisces and Neptune, you're going to just, it's going to be very difficult relationships for you, you know, very hard. So, and if you're dealing with, let's say, Uranus, okay, on any of those aspects I talked about, or Aquarius, all right, the best way to deal with that is you want someone who is perhaps different. They could be eccentric, brilliant, extremely intelligent, okay? And give them their space. You know, give them the space that they need. Don't be too clingy because it just will never, ever work. That person needs a lot more space than your average person. That, and if the person's Mars is in Aquarius, that person wants space, you know? Venus, for guys, Venus, you have Venus conjunct Aquarius, you're going to want a woman who gives you space, okay? So, alrighty, so those are the major ones that I know of that would cause issues and some remedies. Anyway, I hope you liked this video. I hope I explained it good. Anyway, I just thought that this would give you some insight, you know, as to some things. And like I say, if you have this, doesn't mean you're screwed. It doesn't mean that you're going to end up alone, or you're always going to attract science projects or whatever. No, it's just how you're going to use the energy. You're going to use it differently, you know? Like I say, if you have your Mars in Aquarius, or you have Aquarius in the 7th house or the 5th house cusp, or Uranus in the 5th or the 7th house, or Uranus conjunct Mars, or in a guy's case, if you have Uranus conjunct Venus, you're going to give that person their space. Otherwise, then you will be screwed, because they will break up with you. And Aquarius doesn't really give you a notice. They don't say, hey, this isn't working. Could we, like, talk about this? No, Aquarius is, like, gone. There's no Dear John letter usually. They're just, I decided it wasn't working. That's it. No, they don't want to converse about why. They're just done, you know. Now, if you're dealing with, again, that Neptune energy, you want to go with the higher octave. Somebody who makes sure they're spending their time, their energy, and their money with you. Okay? Make sure that they're male or female. Make sure that you're not deceiving yourself in regards to that person. And you're not putting red flags under the rug. Because with Pisces and Neptune, it's a place where you could just put the red flag right under the rug and say, oh, well. And it's hard because, don't forget, Neptune and Pisces, if you have those in the 5th or the 7th house, and what I mean by that is if you have Pisces ruling the 5th or the 7th, or if you have Neptune in the 5th or the 7th, you know, that's where you serve. Pisces is a sign where you serve or suffer. And it's hard because it means that you're going to be serving in relationships, okay? But you just want to make sure that you're serving the right person. It's okay to give. But when you're not getting crap back, or the person, it's a one-way street sign, and you're waiting for a bus is not coming, it's not fun. It's not, you know, and you feel compelled. I could do it. I could make it work. But you're doing all the work. And the clue here is that person doing as much work in that relationship as you are? Are they investing their time, their energy, and their money in you? You know? Are they working? Let's say the person has issues and they know about it. Are they working on change? And if the answer is no, then you want to walk. If they're unavailable, married, just not emotionally available, or whatever it is, you don't see them on holidays, okay? You know that's a red flag. You just got to, the best thing to do is to honor yourself and say, and respect yourself enough to say, hey, when you become single, then hit me up. Or when you can invest your time with me and you're going to make me a priority and not an option, then hit me up. Until that time, no thanks. You know? So that is my synopsis. You know? And I'm going to tell you the clue with that too is it's all Pisces on the 7th or the 5th. It's all about once you start to honor yourself and respect yourself enough to say enough. Enough is enough. I'm not dealing with this anymore. That's when you're going to get the better person in your life. And the clue is weed out those people. The minute you see the red flag, become like that Aquarius on the 7th house cusp and say, okay, thanks, but no thanks. Peace out. I'm out of here, you know? And I think that helps me because I have my Mars in Aquarius. So it does help a little bit because otherwise, if you keep trying to work on something and the person's not in it to win it with you, you're beating your head against the wall. You're not going to go anyplace, you know? So, and you're going to waste years, you know, of good years of your youth and your, you know, on somebody who's maybe not worth it. So my advice is respect yourself, weed them out, make sure that they're 100% available to you. They're just investing their time, their energy, and their money in you, and they're making you a priority and not an option. You know, and some women, it's really weird. I get them on the phone and they're like, oh yeah, he spends time with me, this and this. And one was, I see him once a month, which is really weird. And another person is, well, he lives in another country, but I've never met him. That's not a relationship. You gotta meet the person, you know. But anyway, I don't judge when I do readings, but I do give you the truth. And I'm, you know, I'm not, you know, try not to be blunt or hurt your feelings or anything, but I try to let you see, you know, hey, you know, sometimes it does take another person to say, you know, open your eyes to something. And let's face it, a lot of times if you're in a relationship and you got these friends and they've heard all about the relationship and people get sick and tired of hearing about the same guy or the same girl and you need someone else to talk to, well, I'm free. You can always talk to me. That's what my relationship advisor sessions are about. And I use astrology and synastry to help you realize maybe where the issues are in the relationship and if it's fixable and ways to fix it, remedies. And sometimes I just tell you, hey, run for your life. You know, this is not going to work, you know, especially if I see violence in the chart. Like, this could be a violent, and the person says, oh yeah, he's violent, he hit me, and I'm like, oh no, you need to go. You need to, like, save yourself. But anyway, you know, I find the conversations are nice because it's like your best friends, you know, but it's nice because it's impartial. So it's not like somebody on the other end who's like saying, I'm so sick of hearing about John. I always call about John, you know. It's fine, you know, because a lot of people do call me because their friends and family are sick of hearing about the same wrecked relationship or whatever it is. Or some of them are, you know, gay or lesbian. They don't want some of their family to know or whatever. You know, we talk about all kinds of stuff in sessions. So nothing is shocking, and I do not judge. But I will let you know if I see red flags that wouldn't be conducive of your happiness based on your chart, okay? Anyway, I hope this helps you out, and it gives you a little insight on relationships and what could trip you up, and a little bit of remedies on what to do to make things better. And I hope this was clear. Okay. All right, well, comments, leave them below as usual, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.